Hey you guys, happy Friday. It's Miss Thomas and we are wrapping up our review. Today is the last day before our spring break, and we all deserve it for sure. I just want you to know that when we come back after spring break, we are going to do new stuff. Okay, so I've done for the last week and a half review, and then once we come back April 13th, I will start kind of new stuff. So I hope everybody comes back with kind of a rejuvenated spirit and ready to kind of get back into it. All right, so I was going to go over the homework from yesterday to make sure everybody was okay with this, and then we'll move on to word problems using SohCahToa. All right, so on this first problem, we're going to label according to the 5 degrees. We're going to label the 12 O and the XH. So we should use sign. So, because that's, I'll write it down here again. SohCahToa. O and H is here with sign. So sign 5 degrees equals O over H. And then we talked yesterday that this is division. So X equals 12 divided by sine 5 degrees. And then I showed you could either use Desmos or you could use your own calculator. Most of you have the Casio. Not everybody, but a lot of you do. So that's fine as well. Or you can use your Casio. All right, or the Desmos, excuse me. All right, so our X side is 137.7 units. Okay. So I just typed in literally 12 divided by sine 5 degrees. Okay, make sure your calculator is in degree mode, not radian mode. All right, I'm just double checking my answer to make sure I get the same thing. All right, on number 6, we're finding an angle this time, but we're still going to label. So this is our adjacent side, and this is our hypotenuse side. So A and H is here for cosine. So we should use cosine X equals A over H. And this is where you do the inverse cosine. And then you're going to type in 5 divided by 17. So second cosine, 5 divided by 17. And that gives you X is approximately 72.9 degrees. Okay. All right, for number 14, we're looking for a side. So this is our adjacent and this is our hypotenuse. So again, that's actually just like the last one, it's cosine. It's just going to be worked slightly differently because we're looking for a side as opposed to an angle. So X over 23, and then this is a multiply. So we're going to multiply both sides by 23 to isolate that X. And so now I'm going to type in the calculator. 23 times sine, oops, not sine, cosine, excuse me, 14 degrees, and that should give me 22.3 units. Okay. And then the last one is we are finding an angle. This is the opposite side and this is the adjacent side. So that's tangent. So we're going to go tangent of X equals O over A. And we're going to type in inverse tan 4 divided by 15. So we're going to do second tan 4 divided by 15. And you should get 14.9 degrees. Okay, so those are the answers for yesterday's homework. So let's keep going. I'm going to do 3 problems with you with the word problems, and I want you to do 3, okay? So for each problem, we're going to have a picture, an equation, and a solution, all right? So the very first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and do this for every single problem. Okay. I'm a, creature of habit, and to me, if I just keep it the same every time, it leaves me room for less error, in my opinion. Okay, a penny dropped from the top of the Leaning Tower of Pisa. So the reason this question is a little different or more difficult is because the Leaning Tower of Pisa is actually leaning. So most people are going to put a building like this, but the Leaning Tower of Pisa is actually, oh my gosh, is like leaning. Now, is it drastically leaning that much? No. But that's the side that we're going to put it on, okay? So the tower itself is 182 feet, all right? We're trying to figure out the angle that it leans with the ground. So if this is the actual tower, okay, and this is the ground, we're trying to figure out theta, which is there, okay? And you drop a penny from the top. So you're standing here at the top and you're dropping a penny and it falls 14 feet from the base. So the key word here is base. Base means bottom. So we're going to put the 14 feet down here. Okay, I'm going to go over this too. Okay, and so now we're going to solve the problem just like we did the problems just a moment ago for yesterday. All right, so we're going to label according to this theta. We're going to label this A and we're going to label this H. So that's cosine. So cosine of theta, you could call it X also if you wanted to, equals adjacent over hypotenuse. And then we're going to type it in. So, we're going to do cosine to the -1, which is second cosine. And then we're going to do 14 divided by 182. Okay, and we should get theta is approximately 85.6 degrees. Okay, it doesn't say how I should have put that in the directions, like how much to round to. We'll just keep going to the tenths. We do want units though. That's really sloppy. Sorry, let me try that again. 85.6 degrees. Okay. All right. So number 2, you're going to do the Beyonce problem yourself. Make sure you're finding the angle and think about what a slide would be looking like. Would it be straight up and down vertically or would it be tilted? Okay. So you're going to do that one and send it to me. Let's talk about number 3. You are at the top of the Statue of Liberty and see a boat in the Hudson River. The Statue of Liberty is 305 feet. So that's like how tall it is. So we have the Statue of Liberty here. Here's the fire in her hand. Okay. What is the direct distance? Oh, the angle of depression is 20 degrees. What is the direct distance? Okay, so let's make a note to ourselves that the direct distance is going to be the hypotenuse, always. I shouldn't abbreviate, okay? And then we need to talk and remind each other about the angle of depression. I think the easiest thing is to put the 305 right here because it's how tall Lady Liberty is. So 305 is going to go there. Angle of depression, let me remind you, the angle of depression is always looking downward. So it's not in the triangle, which is not really helpful. But by alternate interior angles, we can then say that these angles are congruent. So this angle down here, depression, and this angle here. If you remember, angle of, I always would tell you to kind of look for a Z or an N. So that's how you know those angles are congruent, by alternate interior. Okay? And then direct distance, I just told you, is the hypotenuse. So we're going to put X here. All right, and so then we're going to label this triangle. So according to this theta here, we're going to label this O and this H. So that's sine. So sine of theta equals 305 divided by X. And so, wait, I don't know why I just did that. We have 2 unknowns and I made a mistake. So the reason we had 2 unknowns, let me show you my mistake, is you see how we have a theta here and an X? So that tells me I've messed up. We shouldn't have 2 unknowns. We should just have 1. Well, it's because we actually know what the angle of depression is. So I need to go back. When I was saying these are equal, I shouldn't have put theta. I should have put 20 degrees because we knew what it was. So if this is 20 degrees, then so is this angle here. Okay? Now let's go back. According to this 20, this is O and H, which is our X side. Okay? All right, I'm sorry. I hope I didn't confuse you too much there. All right, so now we're still going to do sine. So sine of 20 degrees equals O over H. And so now I only have 1 unknown, which is good. And so now you need to ask yourself, is this multiply or divide? Well, this is divide. So you're going to do 305 divided by sine 20. And that'll give you what x is approximately. So 305 divided by sine 20 is 891.8, because it was 7/6, so the 6 makes the 7. Round up. And what was our unit here? Lady Liberty was 305 feet tall, so this is feet. It is a big number, but you think about how far away a boat is going to be from the Statue of Liberty. That's a, it's a big difference. We're talking a very, we're talking feet, so there's a lot of feet between potentially a boat in the Hudson River and the Statue of Liberty. I'm going to go up and box this answer too. All right, I would like for you to do I'm going to do number 4, and then I'm going to ask you to do 5 and 6, okay? So let's talk about 4. A 90-foot escalator rises 28 feet vertically. What is the angle that the escalator makes with the floor? All right, so let's talk about escalators. This is different from an elevator. An elevator, goes like this and moves up and moves down, okay? But an escalator, like if you think at the mall, it moves diagonally, upwards and downwards, okay? So escalators are going to be the hypotenuse, whereas elevators would be the height, right? So it's a 90-foot escalator. So that means 90 feet is going to go here. It rises 28 feet vertically. So vertically is like your key word. It's basically saying how tall from the bottom floor to the top floor, if you're thinking the mall, okay? And then it says, what is the angle that the escalator makes with the floor? So do we agree this is like the first floor? The second floor would be like here, okay? But it's asking us for the floor and the escalator, so our theta would go there, all right? And so then we can label our sides. This is our O side according to that theta, and this is our H side. So that is also sine. So we're going to do sine of theta equals O over H. Okay, and then we'll type in inverse sine, because we're looking for an angle, 28 divided by 90. All right, so second sine 28 divided by 90, and we should get that theta is approximately 18.1 degrees. Okay. All right, so I want you to try 2, 5, and 6 and send them to me. And really try to read your context clues. Let's kind of go through these really quickly. If she goes, Beyonce is at her concert, you were standing 20 meters away from the base. So here's your keyword. If she goes down a 50-meter slide, so slide is a keyword. Think about how that looks like on a playground. What is the angle? So there's what you're looking for. The slide makes with the floor. All right. Number 5 says a guy wire supports a telephone pole. So I want you to think about the telephone pole is typically, straight up and down, and a guy wire is the thing that goes from the wire that goes from the top of the pole to the ground. So the wire is going to be the hypotenuse, and the pole is going to be the vertical, okay? I won't leave that on there so y'all can continue to try it. And then it says, how far is the base of the wire from the base of the pole? So there's your keyword as well. We just want to know the base or the bottom. And then number 6, altitude is a really important word. Let's remind each other. Altitude is another name for height, and we measure height straight up and down, okay? The direct distance between blah, blah, blah. We just talked about direct distance above right here, so be reminded of that. What is the angle of descent? So angle of descent is like angle of depression. Okay? So just FYI, you're going to draw it in here this way, but that's not where you're going to leave it. So make sure you look back at number 3 to help you with those. All right? Please send me those through Remind or my email, and you guys have a wonderful break off next week. I'll see you or talk to you again on the 13th. Bye.